Coming to you live from my apartment. It's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's the guy who says, hey, just call me Uncle R. Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. And welcome back to our recap here after episode number 6 of Survivor 49. And we've got a fun one here today with one of just the best people to talk to. Somebody that always brings a smile to my face. Such a ray of light. Of course, the great winner of Survivor 42, Maryanne Oketch. Maryanne, how are you?
I'm doing good, and thank you so much, Rob, for sticking to the script that I paid you to say.
Yes.
So wonderful. I'm so happy to get my money's worth because everybody knows those are way too kind things to say of me.
Well, okay. Well, Maryanne is such a ray of sunshine that if anybody was planning on dozing off to this podcast, make sure you throw on a Manta Sleep mask, 100% blackout. You won't be able to see anything, just like when the sun went into a total solar eclipse at Maryanne's wedding, you can get 10% off. mantasleep.com, promo code RHAP 49. Maryanne, how are you?
I'm doing good. The Manta Sleep mask reminded me I did not have my nap today, which is fine.
Oh.
But
Every day? Everyday nap?
I'm a habitual napper, so I nap for the spirit of napping. Typically, if I wake up before 8:30, I take a nap, but today I decided to be productive so I can speak with you.
Okay, I am too, and I am blessed in that I have a line of work that allows me to be able to do so. It is not a long nap that I take. I need to close my eyes for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I basically just need to, like, not unlike when you, like, if your phone is like giving you problems and you like, just turn it off and turn it back on. And then I'm like, okay, ready to go.
No. Pajamas, eye mask.
Pajamas?
Yes! I'm sleeping in the bed. It's a ritualistic process. I can't let my dirty clothes
I really could. If I worked like in an office, I think I could like go sit in my car and like put my AirPods in. And I think I could do it there. If I ever have to like go back to an honest day's work, I think I could do it.
No, Rob, I can nap like that. I just choose not to. This is
a buff or a Manta Sleep mask.
Yes,
and my AirPods, and I think I could do it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, but I hate to overheat out in the car like these players are doing out on Survivor 49. Am I right?
Oh my gosh, it gets really hot in Fiji, and like I remember, I think our first challenge on day 3, it was so hot, and that 11 days in a row.
How hot was it?
I think Jeff said that he was, they never give you numbers when you're playing. They're like, oh, it's just really hot. But I looked at the historical data and I think it was like 32 degrees Celsius. So I don't know, in freedom units, maybe like 90 Fahrenheit or something.
Freedom units. So
freedom units.
Okay, I love it. Jeff can't keep it straight of what's the hottest season. He's like, this is the hottest. This is the hottest. Then I was listening to the On Fire podcast. Jeremy was like, come on, Jeff. Like, Cambodia was hotter than this. He's like, all right, you got it. Cambodia is hotter than this.
No, Jeff, when it comes to like seasons being hard and hot, is like Chat GPT when it makes up fake information and you message it back being like, Jeff, this is just wrong.
Didn't you just say that it was like, you know what, you're right. You're
right. Yes. Yeah. Because I think it's so funny. I was like, this is such a hard season. I'm like, in Code Wrong, weren't they literally dying? Like people were dying, like heat stroke. Caleb had to be helicoptered out of here. So, I'm not saying that it's not hot and I'm not saying that it's not hard. But the hardest, the hottest makes me, maybe not.
Okay. Maryanne, what's new with you?
Oh my gosh. Last time you saw me, I was in first year of medical school. Now I'm in second year of medical school because I passed,
how many?
Which is great. 4.
4.
And then residency, which can be either from 2 years to like 10 years. But for me, I will not be doing 10 years.
Okay. Do you have a particular field of specialty or are you going into general medicine? Okay.
Based on my vibe, guess.
Based on Maryanne's vibe, you're so positive, and I'm trying to think of what part of the anatomy does that most lend itself to. How about cardiology?
No. Go broader.
Broader. Okay. Women's health.
I like women, but not like that.
Okay, what is it?
You're getting close. You see, not women's health, but what do women do?
This is such a loaded question. Don't say have babies. That women do STEM.
No, we are being traditionalists. They have babies. Pediatrics.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So interested in family medicine, pediatrics, but they always say you never know until you get to your clerkship year, which is next year. So I'm coming with a very open mind. But yeah.
Okay. Well, that sounds like a perfect thing for you. I would love to, have you be a pediatrician for the kids.
Thank you. I know. It's great. Kids are so funny.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Maryanne, let's talk about Survivor 49. And I know
Absolutely.
that you always, of course, like the weather in Fiji. Your takes are also super hot. How have you felt about Survivor 49 so far?
Oh my goodness.
And of course, Maryanne, one of the regulars over on Chat BCC.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I love Chat BCC. If you ever want to see my thoughts live on the episode, please join.
Unfiltered.
Exactly. Unfiltered. Maybe a little too unfiltered. I think that season 49, we have been seeing players playing to win. And I think a lot of times when you see players playing to win, it is not as exciting for fans. Because, if you have a majority, what are you going to do? Get rid of that majority? Absolutely not. And I think that even in this episode, which we'll talk about more with Shannon being voted out, we were still seeing players playing to win because they're now thinking of merge when people were thinking about how to survive the next steps. I've really been enjoying it because, any survivor is good survivor. And I think that it's really fun. And I think it's going to be interesting in the future because I think in between this episode and the next episode, Jeff is when he reminded the players about season 50. So I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I really do think that while I have been one of many in the Greek chorus of Survivor fandom to say that I think that the first half has been slow, I do think it's been slow but building. Where
Yes.
I can see where we are headed into a exciting second half of the season. And sometimes it's slow and it's like, and it's slow because this is going to be just a steamroll and this is headed towards like a very boring second half. But I really do see where there could be a lot of fireworks and a lot of big swings.
Yes. Exactly. Because think about what the story has been, like in episode 1, we have Kelly just being an absolute disaster tribe. But then we have this like Hina, what's the other? I'm so bad with names.
Uli.
Hina and Uli war that's happening back and forth. We have the swap. It's just Hina and Uli. Everyone has heard of this Hina and Uli war. So of course, you're going to take that quick shot. You're going to take that easy shot because you don't know what's happening on the other tribe. But now, as we're getting to merge, people are like, wow, you don't very rarely now in this day and age do you win Survivor only by playing with the people that you started the game with. So people are now thinking, okay, how am I going to extend this olive branch to Hina to make sure that when the merge happens, that they're not just going to go and jump with old Kelly and take us out. And we saw that very clearly in the players of Jawan. Well, not Jawan. He actually was the only person that was excited to go for Steven. But we saw that with Shannon wanting to go and take out Jawan. We saw that with Sage wanting to take out Shannon. So now people are thinking, I need to now, I can't be in my bubble. I have to work now with the other tribe. How am I going to show that I'm willing to work with them? And thank goodness this was great for Steven, because at first, if it was just people doing boring moves and not thinking about the whole game, Steven would have been gone. But these players are thinking, these players are playing, and hopefully next episode and onwards, we're going to see more cool flips and whips and everything.
Flips and whips. Oh my God.
Flips and whips.
Okay. The way that you described that was actually very interesting because I had not really thought of it that way, where yes, there are the two sides, but you mentioned the two players from the original Kela tribe. And I think that that is actually very interesting to think about it, where that both sides are really going to be in a tug of war for these two people that are in the middle that could really shift the balance of power to one side.
And I think it's also so interesting too, because Alex was put with a majority Hina, and Sophie with the I was put with the majority Uli. So now they kind of technically, the numbers with the Kelly numbers added +1 to both. So now it's very interesting to see, well, Sophie, Sophie and Savannah are very close. Will Sophie go back to that? But Alex now has this relationship with other Sophies. So now Alex has to choose between the two Sophies, which Sophie will be his. Find out next week. Mm-hmm. So I'm really interested to seeing how that goes. And then we also have Sophie as well, too, who said in the episode, I have knowledge is power. I know Rizzo has an idol. I can't use it now, but that's not to say I'm not going to use it later on him. So people are very fluid in their groups, and it could really go either way.
Yeah, it's actually particularly interesting because you have the 4 original Hina that are left, and they do seem like that for the most part. We saw, Sophie with an E talking about Christina, but they seem to be mostly on the same page. Steven, Sophie with an E, Christina, and MC. And then there are 4 of the old Uli tribe members who survived the first swap together: Rizzo, Savannah, Nate, and Jawan. But really also Sage is an interesting floater there. Probably at this point we would say is more likely to stick with the Hina tribe than to go back with her old tribe. But she also has Jawan as a little bit of an anchor.
Yeah, I think honestly,
I don't mean anchor in a bad way. I mean just somebody.
No, I know exactly what you mean, like a lighthouse, or like
could he bring her home?
Like a moon, a satellite. No. I think that actually for Jawan and Sage's game, taking out Shannon was the most optimal move, because whether they knew it or not, they were at the bottom of Uli. So that if Uli, like Jawan was going to be sacrificed, I think in the same way. Like if the new tribe, what do you see names? If the new tribe if the new Hina, so old Hina, honestly,
old, it's like Rizgod is on Hina.
Yes.
Like, forget it.
Yes.
We're dealing with
2 tribes.
Yeah.
If they were in 2 tribe mode and Hina went to tribal, based on dynamics, I really do think that they would have flipped on Jawan and kept Sophie. Because you're thinking, how do I extend this olive branch with the other tribe to show that I'm willing to go and eat one of my own? Now, so then go ahead.
Do you think that Sage has been able to get Jawan to wake up and smell the coffee?
Oh, I don't think so. I think that Jawan is smelling the coffee, but he is dreaming and the coffee is still being smelt there, where he realized, oh my goodness, Shannon is trying to go for me. So obviously I'm going to go for Shannon and extend this olive branch. But going into the swap, we heard Jawan say, oh my goodness, this is an easy one. We can just go and take Steven out because we're trying to be very Uli strong. When on the previous tribe that he was on, they were not Uli strong. They were anti-Jawan. Jawan was going to go home if not for that swap. So I think that, it was that self-preservation where it's like, okay, I'm willing to go and eat one of my own to keep myself alive. But then if you go, and then also it's just so unfortunate that at least from what we've seen, that Shannon was very close to Savannah, who seems to be running things there. So now going to merge, it's now going to be like, well, what's going to happen? How are they going to respond to this? Like, are they going to be okay with this? Or are they not going to be okay with this? Especially because if I think that if they voted out Jawan, Savannah will be like, yeah, great. This is amazing. This is exactly what I want to do. But now it's like, are they going to be able to come back with welcome arms? Or now are they defecting and going to Hina? And that's what I'm excited to see.
Let's go back to Sage. You said that you felt like that Sage made a really good move. Steven and I were debating the wisdom of Sage's move, whether it was or not. Why do you like the move?
Okay. So I understand how people don't like the move. I'm probably sure that Steven said something like, buy my book Escape. And before you buy the book Escape, you should think about how, Shannon was really into Sage at this time. So why would you vote out someone who's really into you at this time?
Did you have a transcript?
No, I just know Steven, and you should buy it. But I digress. But I think that in this moment, if, Shannon is going and it's like, I want to work with you, Sage, but then also in the same part, Shannon was very willing to go and throw Sage under the bus and just completely drag her through the mud to save herself, self-preservation, mind you. But going to merge, if you're going and you now have your number one person in Savannah, and now the conversation comes up again about being like, let's go and let's kill some of our own. And then you know, let's say Jawan was gone and they really feel, oh my goodness, we need to kill one more person, I feel as if that person would have been Sage. So now by going and then instead of going and pulling Jawan is like, now great, I have this number one person. Steven can hopefully work with that olive branch because Steven was more interested in working with Sage than with working with Shannon. And he only was willing to go with Shannon's plan because he thought that was the only thing to save himself. So now they can go and talk to Hina and be like, hey, Hina, don't go for us. And then, because what's going to happen? Like, Uli's like, the only way that their Sage and Jawan is going to go out is if Uli then goes and sacrifices them. But I think that in that sense, old Hina will be like, well, if they're willing to sacrifice, let me tell them, and then we can sacrifice one of their own and fully defect. So I really do think that by doing this, it makes it so that if Uli wants a shot, they still have to work with Sage and Jawan if they still have a shot to survive. But then, on the other hand, they can still go and defect with Hina. So I really think it really puts them in that swing position, which they would not have been if Sage went for Jawan instead of Shannon.
Yeah, and I argued the same thing with Steven yesterday, that I felt like that, you know, Sage has options now, where Sage was not in a great position with the original tribe, where now she does have options. I do think, though, that there is a possibility where this could backfire for Sage. I think that the way that this goes sideways for Sage looks like Jawan goes back to Uli and Sophie B goes back to work and pulls Alex back. And now all of a sudden, with Nate, Savannah, Rizzo, that's 3. Jawan comes home, Sophie B, and now if they get Alex back, that's 6. And perhaps it could be Sage as the person that they take out.
But what I think, though,
I don't think that that's likely, but I think that that's that. I overall like the move. I just think that that could be when we're talking about the downside for Sage.
No, I just think it's more likely that the Hina people, so that's who, MC, Christina, Sophie with an E,
Sophie
and then who else? Are those the only 3 who haven't been to Tribal? Yeah, Steve went to Tribal, though.
Yeah.
These are 3 people who haven't been to Tribal, and when you don't go to Tribal, you get antsy. Okay? So actually, I think that if we're seeing a defecting or flip, I think it's more likely that Hina is going to eat one of their own before Uli goes and sacrifices each one of their own.
Do you think that after we saw sort of like a little bit of like the breadcrumbs of Sophie with an E talking about, you know what, Christina is throwing my name out there saying I'm the decoy vote. Do you think that possibly we see Hina throws Christina under the bus as sort of like hey, this is our like consensus person?
I feel as if at least it really depends on what Sage and Jawan do. If they go back to Uli, I really do see that Christina being the person to go. But if they're willing to go and work with the new with Hina, then maybe Christina is safe. Or if they're like, sacrifice one of your own, then we'll work with you, then I see that it might be Christina. Yeah. But I really do think, and I might be a little delusional, but I really liked that move, and I really do think that it at least bought them one more tribal, because things can change at a drop of a dime.
I really think going into the merge that Jawan is the most interesting player in the game.
Yes.
What is he going to do?
1,000%.
I think that he has the people that he has been working with, where we've really, you know, Nate and Rizzo have not had a lot of commentary about Jawan. And it seems like that he has had a hard time fitting in. We know how Savannah feels about Jawan. And then he meets these new people and he's like, wow, this is great. Steven is great. Like, you know, okay, I'm hitting it off with Sage now. I feel like that when he meets the other people from Hina, like, I think he's going to get along really well with them. Like, I think that he is an interesting piece. And I don't think that Uli recognizes how valuable he is. Like, basically, for me, I think that Uli's survival in the game is completely dependent on Jawan. And I don't think they see it.
Yeah, I think so, too. And I think also, too, Jawan likes to bond with other people, but he doesn't let it fully block himself from what needs to be done. Like, for example, he's like, Jason, you and I are cut from the same cloth, but I'm still gonna rig the rough draw.
Men?
Yo, don't get me started. Those were some base, easy. No Malamar? Come on. I digress. But, you know, he still rigged the rock draw. He's like, I like you. I think you're great. I'm still going to rig the rock draw and make sure you don't play your shot in the dark.
He's loyal.
Yeah. So I think that, like, with these bonds, he's letting people go work with him and trust him. I think he really showed, I really want to work with Jason. And now with this move of going and working with Steven to make sure that Shannon goes out instead of Steven, it's like, oh, he really did want to work with me. And maybe he didn't have the power to go and keep Jason safe, like, because of numbers. Maybe, like, it did work out. So I really do think that it is not in Hina's best interest, even if Uli's like, yeah, let's get Jawan. I think a smart player would be like, wait, ping, 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 ping. Like, why are they giving me the sacrifice? I should go for an alternative name.
Mm-hmm. And Jawan, they've talked about him. Oh, well, he's the most likely to flip. I think he's actually the least likely to flip.
Yeah.
Like, he really wants to make it work with his original tribe. And that's why I think that even after all this, I think he could very well stay with Uli throughout all of this. I just think it's interesting that they take him for granted.
It's true, because the only reason he voted out Shannon was because he heard Shannon was saying,
Shannon biffed it.
Yeah.
Really, I think that Shannon, if she said that Steven is the vote and we're voting out Steven tonight, I'm not sure Jawan would have flipped.
I don't think so. I think Jawan would have put his feet down. I think, especially if she's like, hey, let's go and flip. I think he would have gone back to Shannon and be like, hey, Shannon, this is what's happening. I'm still Team Steven. Mm-hmm. But I really do think that Jawan was 100% on Steven. And I really do think that as soon as he found out, oh my goodness, like, Shannon is not on the same page as me. Oh my goodness. Like, well, I guess I can protect myself, and there are benefits because I do genuinely like Steven, and I can still come back and then, you know, do a little bit of bus throwing. Hey, so Sage is the one who did this move. I think it could happen.
Do you think that Sage was looped in enough at Uli to know that Jawan was going to be the vote and he was on the bottom?
Yes. I think in dynamics, especially when, even if you have a core 4, it's like as long as you're not the 6, you have a name. Everyone has a name in their mind who they're thinking of, like, so it's like, no matter where you are on the pecking list, you know what that name is. And typically that name is the name that is either the true name or the name that comes after you, if that makes sense.
Maryanne, I want to talk to you about Shannon, and I would love to get your perspective on her, because I think of you, and obviously that's a big part of who you are as a person, and certainly on Survivor, was your spirituality. And I think that you speak very openly about that. And I think that you're a person where I don't think it was ever called into question, ever, Maryanne's authenticity. I don't think that I've ever heard anybody even question, where your faith comes from, and, how you balance your faith and also a Survivor player, and what a great Survivor player you demonstrate yourself to be. But in Shannon, it's been so interesting, right? To watch her as a player trying to navigate playing the game and also having this spirituality about her.
Yeah, I think it's interesting and please, if I go and express, Shannon, if you're listening to this, or people you're listening to, if I express your journey wrong, I apologize. I'm just going from what I've heard and what I've seen. And I think from what Shannon's explored is that, like, when she started to go on Survivor, she was still on that journey of spirituality where she's like, oh, I believe there's God. I'm still trying to figure this. Like, I'm still exploring things, figuring things out, figuring like all these pieces. Right. So I think it was really interesting in the way that she's coming in with that spirituality, where she's very fluid, taking different parts. I was actually chatting because, as we know so wonderfully last week, she said Jesus got high off of God, which is actually technically theologically sound in Christianity, depending on what you see high is. I can go into depth in that, but later. But I really do think that it's like Shannon is someone who she will bond with you however she wants to bond with you. And so it worked for people, especially because Christina is super strong with her faith. Christina also explained there's other reasons she connected with Shannon, but she's like, this is important to Shannon, this is important to Christina, she's going to talk about it. And I think that the way that Shannon goes and connects with people, it's very like, oh my goodness, I really feel this way, I really connect. I had a dog too, my dog was 16 months, what type of dog are you? And I think that especially when people connect on faith, and especially when someone is on a faith journey where they're like, okay, what do I believe? What do I not believe? Like, what's right? Like, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about that? It can seem very ingenuous because they're not very solid in what they're believing, but that's because they're exploring that, So when you're exploring something, it doesn't seem it's still very fluid. From now, I think from as of this day, she's kind of gone and really been like, okay, has a little bit more of a solid thing of how she's feeling in her spirituality, which is why I think that when people see how she's feeling today and where she was playing, it's two different parts of her journey. But then it can be like, well, if you believe this now, why were you saying these things in the other time? And I don't think we should go and judge her on that. And I think that that's really how she was. And I think she's great.
I think what's interesting about her, and I got the chance to talk to her this morning, and I asked her a little bit about this, was that I'm sure it must be hard for her in particular, because that we really saw her story from Sage's point of view. And from Sage's point of view, this is clearly how, Shannon was, of like a Sharky Shannon, and she is like catering her approach to different players, and she's playing up these different parts of her spirituality to other people. And I think that probably was a difficult journey, because that, as she was saying to me, I didn't feel like I'm being disingenuous. Like I felt like that I was, bringing a part of me to each one of these conversations. But from Sage's point of view, it's like, look what a phony.
Yeah. And I have two things to say about that. The first thing being like, I went from a tribe that, kind of spoke about spirituality. I know Jonathan and I had conversations just one-on-one. And then when we went to merge, we had both Romeo and Tori, who are Christian. And I feel as if it's like, oh, these are people who want to talk about their faith more. I'm then going to go and talk about my faith. So it doesn't mean that I'm now, oh my goodness, they're Christian, so I'm not going to go and get super holy. It's just, I have more people who want to talk about it and explore it. So in that perspective, it can be like, especially for someone who saw, okay, Shannon was now 0 and now it's 100. What's going on? That's what it might look like. But on the other hand, I really want to speak, especially for people listening, where it's like, when you're playing Survivor, when you're experiencing life, there's going to be people that you don't vibe with. Okay. There's going to be, and I love a good villain. I love a good person and enemy. In my real life, I have someone who on site enemies number one. Like, I do not like this person, which is very rare, but I genuinely do not like this person. I would be very happy to never speak to said person ever again. But the thing is, I don't like this person because of their personality, who they are. Do I think that this person is a horrible human being who deserves no love or life? No. But parts of their personality is what does not connect with mine. And I think that we should be very, very aware where it's like, okay, so Sage and Shannon, their personalities didn't go and they did not vibe. That's okay. Maybe Sage was like, oh my goodness, this person is like, I think that Shannon's annoys me, and that's true. But just because Shannon annoys her does not mean that Shannon is inherently annoying. It just means that their personalities do not vibe. So I think that, in speaking of this rivalry, as someone who I loved it when the girlies were fighting,
I loved it too.
I loved it. It was so wonderful, but in a subsurface level. But I think that it's very important when we speak about that, we don't think, oh my God, Shannon is this evil, annoying, super fake person, because that's not who she is. It's just like, Sage thought that Shannon was annoying, and that's also true. If you kind of get what I'm going at.
Yeah. And Sage was an amazing narrator, and Sage gave us so many great facial expressions. And we really did see this story through Sage's lens.
Yes.
Something that I do feel like that, and something that, Sage was saying that she was picking up on, something that I really don't like in the game, and especially outside of Survivor, is when people, use spirituality as a weapon, where that they say, I am in communion with the higher power, and I'm telling you, this is what the higher power wants me to do, which is this thing that's in my best interest and not in yours, but trust in me. I know what, the spirits are saying, and that's why you need to do this thing.
Yep. As someone wise once said, God doesn't have a vested interest in Survivor. But I think that when we were going and looking at Shannon, who was talking about spirituality, and looking at the, super extreme end of coach who did have that spiritual cult. I think that speaking about your spirituality and bounding over that, I don't think that's fake or ingenuine. And I think that when we were seeing Shannon talk about strategy, she especially because she had the thought about pulling people each person's number one into the merge and then having a big sub-alliance. I didn't hear anything about spirituality in that conversation.
But that was to Steven, that approach was, and that wasn't necessarily the lever she was pulling with Steven. With Christina, she was saying I did pray to God to say I don't even need to be in the numbers, just lead me to the right people that I'm supposed to be with.
Yeah, I think that as someone who is spiritual, I think that from someone who isn't spiritual, I can see how that comes. Because, a lot of times there's this thing where it's whatever your will, God, or whatever, let that will be done. So it's even if it's not beneficial for my game, let it be done. So I think when you're speaking to someone who's also spiritual and you say, oh my goodness, I prayed this and this is what's happened. I want to go wherever his will is. And even if that's negative in the numbers, that's okay. As someone who's spiritual, I pick that as wow, this person really trusts what the plan is. This person is really belonging. And I really do appreciate that. But I think that if you don't have that spirituality, it can seem very what are you saying? What's going on? So I think that's something we call it in Christianity, we call it Christianese, where it's you say something, you're what the heck are you, what do you mean? What are you saying? This makes no sense. But I think that when I watched that didn't even come in my radar because I knew where Shannon was coming from. I knew exactly what Shannon was trying to express to Christina, and that was a faith talk. And I really think that that's how, and I think that's how Christina interpreted it, where it's okay, not oh, wow, this is her saying that God wants me to keep her, but this is her saying, wow, even though she's in a bad situation, she still has faith in that higher power.
It's something that I feel doesn't necessarily translate to the viewers, something like the heat, like the hunger, like the elements. But I do feel that when you are in some of these high stress environments, that I do feel that it's one of the things that you don't really get at home. But the spirituality and the way that people feel spirituality can be more extreme and more profound on Survivor in this environment.
Exactly. When you don't know who's lying to you, who's not lying to you, when your next meal is, what the challenge is going to go, and you have something, and there's so many things in flux, and then you have the spirituality, something that keeps you stable, it can really, really help, and it can really be intense. I know that I had a lot of times where I felt very connected to God in my time in Survivor, because it's you have nothing, and the only thing, it's you have you and there's God, and then you have those conversations, and so it really. And so it's I said, it's very hard to translate on TV because it's we don't talk. We're three-dimensional human beings, and you can't go show all the complexities on TV, and you can't explain all the history. You don't have all the conversation to make it make sense fully. And but I really do understand where people are coming from, and I understand exactly what you're saying.
I want to talk about where we're headed into this merge. And I think that this is actually a pretty interesting merge for the new era, where we really do have two big sides that are going to be going after each other. I guess we've had that a little bit maybe in Survivor 44 was really, two sides. And I'm sure there's probably another instance where, you have the two bigger sides coming at each other. But your season was certainly an interesting one, because I believe that famously it was 4-4-4 at the merge?
It was 4-4-4 at the merge. Yeah.
Yeah. So how is it a merge like that different from one like this, where there's just these clear battle lines?
Oh my goodness. I think when it's 4-4-4, people are more inclined to make inter-tribe alliances. So, unbeknownst to me at merge, because I was living up my great life, they basically every tribe kind of every person in tribe was represented in this majority alliance, and they all decided on at least one or two people from their tribe that they were going to sacrifice. So from Taku, that was me. And then from Ika, that was Chanel. And then from Vati, that was both Romeo and Tori. So then everyone else was okay, and then we're going to be happy. We're going to work together. We're going to be a big 8 mega alliance, and that's never going to fall apart, because when will it ever fall apart? But I think that now when you have, I think they have a 5-4-2, but de facto it's actually a 6-5. If you look at the previous swap, it's so close. And at these tight margins, everyone is a fear of a pagonging, just being eaten one by one by one. And cerebrally that you're not going to go and just vote everyone out and then vote everyone else out. At one point, there's going to be someone who goes and flips and works with the minority group. But at that point, are you sure that you are going to be the one in the minority who's left after they go and decimate you? So I think that everyone is thinking, oh my goodness, I have to stick to tribal lines so that I'm able to last the next day, so that when I want to make a move and flip on my tribal lines, I will have those numbers. And if I flip now, then the other team will have tribal lines, and then they will go and just vote us out until they have their number. So it's kind of like this like Cold War prisoner's dilemma of like, well, we have to continue doing this because if I don't do it, they're going to do it. It's like, do you have siblings, Rob?
I do.
Do you have older or younger?
So I'm the oldest, and then my sister is 2 years younger than me, and my brother is 9 years younger than me.
Wow. Have you ever heard of spite eating?
Spite eating? No.
Yes. It is when you maybe bring some food or dessert and you put it in the fridge and you leave and you come back and it's still in the fridge and you don't really want that food right now. But you know that if you do not have that food right now, your sibling's going to take it and you're not going to be able to have it.
I've had
so you're
roommates where this is an issue.
It's different with roommates though, because that's
and I have kids
your
now.
food.
It's like, oh, the kids are going to
eat
this. There you go.
Exactly. So so even if you don't want to really do it or eat it at that moment, you still have to, because if someone else eats it, then when you want it, it's going to be gone. Mm-hmm. That's what it really feels like when you have this very clear tribal lines and very close margins. You need to be the one to eat that cupcake before someone else eats the cupcake, even if you don't want to eat the cupcake at the time.
That's how I viewed the rice on Survivor. Going back to Survivor All-Stars, like we had rice. We were like, and I'm like, hey, let's eat all the rice. Let's do it. Let's go. Because we're just going to swap. We're going to merge. We're going to share it with everybody. And Amber was like, no, in Australia, we ran out of the rice. Like, who cares? We have it now. Let's eat it.
Did you manage to eat the rice in the end?
No, they voted me out.
Ah, that sucks. Sorry, man.
Which was sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, what are you going to do? But I get it. It's like, you have the thing.
Yes.
You have the thing. Use it. Otherwise, other people are going to come in and take it.
Exactly. And I think that's what we're going to see next episode. Some sort of go ahead. I'm just going to finish my thought.
All right. No, please finish. I'm going to ask something else.
I was just going to say, we're going to have people being like, well, I have to stick to tribal lines because if they go and take my number out, then when I want that number, the number's going to be gone.
Mm-hmm. Maryanne, we have 11 people left. Do you think we are not going to have Mergatory this week?
I do not think so. Because
you do not think we will have Mergatory?
I do not. I think we're going straight to jury. Called it here.
They will be cooking because this is, if there was ever any season in the new era to not have a Mergatory, this would be it. Because we are sitting on potentially, and listen, it's their show. Look, they're going to do what they want. Mm-hmm. Okay. But they have such an opportunity here. We could be going into like a Cagayan level merge vote next week. We really could. Cagayan merge, I believe, was also was 11 people. Mm-hmm. And similarly, you had the tribe swap, and then that was coming off of Top 5 Baby, where Sarah Lacina had heard it, but that Sarah Lacina and Cass couldn't get on the same page about who they were going to be voting for. And then ultimately, you're going to have two sides basically taking a shot. There's idols in play. Where are the idols? That they really have such an opportunity for a really exciting vote. They just have to get out of the way.
I agree with you 100%. Like, these margins are paper thin. And when it's paper thin and people are seeing the future, seeing the next steps, no one wants to be, and people feel like they're in the bottom of a 5 or a bottom of a 6. This is the time for those people to strike a move. This is the time. I hope, and I don't think that it's going to happen, but I think we're going to get a close margin vote as well too at the merge. I don't think it's going to be just like a 13-1 or a 12-2-2. Well, that's impossible because there's not 16 people. But you get what I'm saying. I really do think that this has the opportunity to be a great merge. And I do think they were like, because I'm like, look, we already had a tribe swap, then we had another tribe swap, and now we're at merge. Like we already have so many things which are going on. Why do we need what is the benefit of adding now a third thing?
Yeah.
You know?
I have complained as much as anybody in the first half of the season, but they have it set up so well right now, despite all of my complaining about things, that they have an opportunity to make them look so smart and me look so dumb, so stupid. So stupid for like, Rob, let us cook. We know what we're doing. They have this amazing opportunity right now. It's the final 11. You don't need to have that. When did you all have the hourglass? Was it 13?
No, 12.
12. Okay, 12. It was a 12. Okay. Jeff says it's a great number to do merge. And that they had 13, they had 12, but because we went, instead of in the 6th episode, we've waited until the 7th episode. We had the secret and we had a double elimination episode. So we've already lost now 7 people from the game. So we don't need to mess around with mergatory where somebody's gonna make you almost made the merge, but you didn't make the merge, or you made the merge, but you didn't make the jury. There's 11. So we're gonna have a final 3 and we're gonna have an 8-person jury. So everybody here is going to both make the merge and make the jury unless we do something, unless we fumble the bag.
No, I think the way we fumble the bag here is I think that the 11 people will either be on jury or final 3 if we fumble the bag. The way that I think we fumble the bag is if we only let half of the people go to tribal, like we saw in 44.
Only like half the people go to tribal.
Like, you know how it was like we split up.
Yeah, we don't need to do that either.
Yes,
like, we are on track, because that when we had the medical evacuation, that was, again, bad luck for Jake, good luck for Jake's baby, that dad got to come home, but it was, we already had our double elimination episode. We had it already. We're not behind in the numbers.
Yeah.
So we don't need to do it. And they've done it in the past, often at 11, where they have mergatory at 12. And then it's, congratulations, you're merged. And then, okay, first day of the merge is 2 new tribes split up. It's like, we don't need to do that.
I know I don't need to do it. And also on a pro, production has also been willing to go and change things. 42, the whole gimmick of 42 was that it's the same as 41. But when Jackson left, we only had 1 tribal at the first tribal, showing that they're willing to go and change things up based on the schedule. So I have hope. We're going to just see our first traditional merge vote, and it's going to be great. And they're going to go on jury, and it's going to be wonderful.
There is reason to hope after all this.
Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive. I'm telling you, Maryanne. Listen, keep Hope Driscoll alive. Maryanne, okay. Let me bring in, I have questions for you from the listeners. There's so many different things to talk about. Okay. Let me just mention here, before we jump into all this, our sponsor for this episode of the podcast, our friends over at Manta Sleep. Maryanne, she's going to be rocking one of these every day. Part of the nap movement, completely 100% blackout, customizable fit. They've got so many great things to help you get your sleep. It's so important. Get 10% off over at mantasleep.com, of course, with promo code RHAP49. And check it out, especially if you're a side sleeper. Are you a side sleeper?
I'm back inside, so I'm both.
Back inside. It's going to work great for you. Mantasleep.com. Okay. Let's take some questions that I have for you from the listeners. And Okay, Sam Weintraub wants to know, who on Survivor 49 would give you the ick?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Do you know what the ick is, Rob?
I know what the ick is. How would I not know what the ick is?
I don't know. You're like, what? You're a old millennial, right?
The thing is, I appreciate. Thank you for saying that. I'm really like the youngest Gen Xer, to be
okay.
Frank. But here's the thing though, and people are like, oh, Rob, you're so old, but you have to remember, I have children that are tweens,
Gen Alpha.
So I actually tend to know more things than people who are like 10, 15 years younger than me.
Okay.
Because
so you know the special numbers.
I know all about the numbers. Like, I want to know, like I ask my kids about what's going on. So I actually, am pretty much on top of everything.
Okay, perfect. Okay. What would specifically or who or what would give me the ick on Survivor 49? Oh my gosh. You know what would give me the ick actually?
What's that?
I hate snoring. I hate snoring. I'm a very light sleeper, and if you snore loud enough, I will wake up. And when I wake up when I'm sleeping, I am so mean, Rob. Like I'm actually the meanest person you will meet in your life. So if I woke up, thank you. So that's why I slept on the beach, in the fire, not next to people. But if I woke up to someone snoring when it's already hard to sleep, I would literally be like, I am voting this person out. They are horrible. They don't deserve to be here. Why are they even on jury? Who cast them? Who cast this person who snores? Like, I hate snoring.
I could really see it because I feel like that while you have like the biggest heart and, have the kindest side, that there's also like the other side of that coin.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm Slytherin if people believe in that. But yeah, I don't like that. Snoring actually would be, snoring. I do not like snoring.
All right. Here's something that gave me the ick from the episode. Okay. Jeff finally gave the players a good reward this week where they got grilled cheese. And then also with that grilled cheese, Jeff kept talking about they're going to also have salty potato chips. And he kept talking about how salty the potato chips are going to be. It turns out, I believe I was following on Twitter, the players talking about it. So they got salt and vinegar chips.
Oh, that's not salty potato chips. That's salt and vinegar chip. Oh, Jeff. No, that's a lie. You lied to me, Jeff. And I don't hate salt and vinegar chips. But if you're gonna,
I like them. They're good. They're
good.
But why do I care? Like if it's 400 degrees outside, why does Jeff think that this is gonna be like a salty potato chip? How salty is it? Can I get extra salt on my chips?
No, we used to have Applebee's as pre-merge rewards. Look how the mighty have fallen, man. That's all.
Yeah, I went to Applebee's the other day.
I went by it. Actually, recently this Saturday.
Yeah, I went to Applebee's. My kids, that they were thrilled.
I genuinely do love Applebee's.
Yeah, I went to Applebee's and it was my kids were thrilled. What was that? I thought it was kind of expensive.
Oh, you obviously didn't go for their lunch special before.
We did not go for lunch special.
Mistake number one. My family, we exclusively went. We would get there at 3:45, be like, give us the lunch menu, please, and thank you. You're pushing in the order.
I got the check and I was like, boy, we could have gone someplace better than Applebee's. I mean, it was no joke.
I believe you. Things are expensive.
Yeah. And we didn't get anything crazy.
Like the riblets?
I did get the appetizer where you get 3 things.
Oh, yeah, the trio. No, I like the riblets. I like anytime like they have blue drink, like the whatever.
Shark bowl.
The shark bowl. I love their shark bowl. I always like wings. I'm a very simple. I love chicken. It's like you can't mess up chicken and ribs.
Can't mess up chicken. I had seen that people were talking about your feelings about the chicken on Chat BCC.
Yeah. Okay. Disclaimer: you guys are all wonderful people, but actually, people are so scared.
The listeners
the players.
The players.
Like, How are people so dramatic about killing a chicken, people? What do you think happens with the chicken that you eat? It's not hard to kill a chicken. You just wring its neck or decapitate it if you want. And you know what was crazy, Rob? They didn't even blanch the chicken. Because if you put water, boil it, then you put a chicken in it quickly, it'll contract, and it's so much easier to pluck the fat feathers. So they didn't even prep the chicken properly. And then last and not least, they're so sad about killing this chicken. I'm like, this is the most ethical chicken you will ever eat in your life. Straight from the source, farm to table. This has probably been like a free-range chicken as well, too. And even if you don't eat the chicken, if you're so sad about eating, someone is going to eat the chicken. It might as well be you. You know, like I have never had patience for people who are sad about the chicken. You know, I love Thai, but that chicken would have died. That it would have one day woken up. Oh my God, where's its head? Well, gotta cook it anyway. Sorry, Sia. But like literally, I can't deal with that. Like, because when I was in, like, you know, that's my parents' life. You go and have a chicken. You go to Kenya. You go to someone's like my cousin's house. And they're like, we're so happy you're here. We're gonna go and kill a chicken so you can eat it. That's such an honor. That's such a great thing that someone's gonna go have their meat and give it to you. And now we're all so sad. Oh, like boo hoo. No, that chicken. And then after I saw that they kind of cooked it on the. They cooked it on the, what am I trying to say? On the cast iron. They butchered it. They're gonna, I would have stuck through and done a rotisserie chicken, you know? Because like if you're patient enough, you don't have to immediately cook it. You can go have a slow roast. You can make it last, let that emanate. Then you take the bones and then you boil the water with the bones and you can now have a chicken stock. So now you can have like chicken broth to give you more food. There's so much you can do with the chicken. And we were not appreciating that, okay? I was so sad I didn't have it. That chicken would have been so. Oma would have made sure I ethically killed the chicken because I'm a little PETA wouldn't like me, but I would have made sure we had some good chicken.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for talking that through. I did think that it was funny that this is like such an issue for the players now in modern day Survivor, where in the old days of Survivor that it was just like, oh, great, let's just kill a chicken. You'd have like, 3 or 4 people in the tribe that would know how to do that. And now it's like, you're lucky if there's one person that's on the show that would even know what to do with the chicken.
I know. Like, it's interesting. Like, because I remember before going, I went and I asked my mom and I looked online. I'm like, how do you prepare a chicken? Like, I'm like, how do I make sure I get it? How do I make sure I get it? How do I get everything done? Because I'm like, if there is a chicken reward, I am going to be ready to go and prep that chicken and make sure that it's the best chicken we have. And you have salt water. You can salt the chicken. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love meat.
Okay. So, Maryanne, I thought it was interesting also that the chickens then escaped from the coop. How are they storing the chickens that they're getting out?
I think
like don't they come in like a box?
They come in a box, but I know that some players like to free range them. So you give it like
they always escape
and you tie. That's what I'm like. This is where I get a little ethically ambiguous, and I do understand if people do not agree with what I'm about to say. Yeah. But I'm like, if this chicken is gonna die in the next 3 or so days, just I don't know, keep it in the cage for the 3 days, and maybe on its final day, then double tie it in the knot and let it be free range then.
That maybe the players are feeling like, oh, the chicken will lay eggs. I think that might be the thinking of if it's like not, it's stressed out in the thing, and if you want it to lay eggs, then we have to do that. But they always let it escape.
No, also too about eggs, I'm very anti-egg. Okay?
Yeah.
Because people are like, in what way? In the way of Survivor. Because people are like, oh, the hens might lay eggs, da, 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 da. And, depending on the type of hen, you can maybe lay an egg every day, but most times you're only going to get an egg on average on 3 days. And what are you going to do with one egg for 3 days? Jonathan, in 42 from my season, you want to know how many eggs he eats in one sitting?
21.
Sometimes a dozen, sometimes up to 18. This guy, so what are we going to do with one egg? Let's be real. Like the benefit
3 days, you waited for an egg. 2 people are going to be voted out by then.
That's what I'm saying. And in addition to that, look what happened. They got the chicken and then they got swapped again. And then what? You're going to bring one chicken to let 11 people eat at the merge? No, you're not. Right. Stupid. Eat that chicken. Eat like the rest.
You have the chicken. Just like the guy who got voted out also. I will say that, and I was thinking of this when I was watching the episode, that, they're like, oh my God, like this, like we've made it so far. It's day 12. I was like, yeah, that's the same time that I like, it's like, Rob, you were nothing on Survivor All-Stars. Like, you were like a footnote on the season. Well, I made it just as far as all the players did so far in this season.
There you go. You played more than all the players on this season and more of the new era.
Well, just in that one season.
No, because I'm talking including Amazon, because that's 38
yes.
plus 12. I
have played 50. We'll see how Dee and Kyle do. But yes, as of this point, I have played more than anybody in the new era. But
there you go.
Maryanne, have you talked about this at all, about Survivor 50?
I've talked a bit about it.
Yes.
I've talked a bit about it, yeah.
Because as I really think of, because they talked about of who's on the Mount Rushmore of the new era. And to me, I think that you are the person who really was the person who was like the true proof of concept of the new era. Because I think that after Survivor 41, I think a lot of us were still like, I don't know about this. And then you came along. And I've always been so amazed by your Survivor journey. And you came along and you said that this is who I am. I'm here and I'm weird and I'm doing it for all of the other weirdos who are out there. And if I can do it, you can do it. And then you had this amazing journey in your season. And of course, that I think that you were such a great representation of everything that they wanted the new era of Survivor to be. And I think that you were the person that when you won, that it was like, you see, this is exactly what we are trying to go for here in the new era. And I really felt like that if we were going to bring back people who won from the new, and I know this will sound disrespectful to the people that they did bring back, but I don't know how we didn't bring you back.
You know what, Rob? I think that it's like, for me, I'm like, I love Survivor. Do I want to play Survivor again? Yes. Would I make it, like, if they called, would I try to make it work my schedule? Yes. But I think one thing for me to know that I get a lot of peace in is that it's like, it's not up to me, and if it was meant to happen, it was meant to happen. And, some people might be like, well, but why are you not on? This doesn't make sense. I think that in the grand scheme of things, people are always like, you know what? It doesn't make sense now, but it might make sense later. Like, for example, Sandra wasn't on All Stars, and people were like, why isn't Sandra on All Stars? And look what happened at Heroes vs. Villains when we saw Sandra. And I think I'm also in such a wonderful place where it's like, okay, I won, doesn't get much better than that. And I love Survivor, and I don't feel sad about not playing. I'm very happy. I'm very excited for 50 to see how people do. And even if I didn't make it to Fiji, my clothes did. So that has to count for something.
Wow. Your clothes made it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just really hope that, you know how I feel about you as a person who I hope that we do get to see you play again.
Thank you. It would be so fun, like if the timing is right again and they make a different decision, I would love to come back. But like I said, even though I have a massive taco flag, yes, still my prime. Hey, I go to the gym now. I could probably beat Jonathan in the swimming contest.
Maybe. I mean, you're not like me and so many of my peers where it's like the clock is ticking.
Oh my gosh, that's the thing as well.
How many more good years do we have left?
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, for me, it's like, oh no, Maryanne's not on 50. So sad. But I'm actually more sad you're not on 50. Because listen, you're geriatric in Survivor years. Are we ever going to see you again? Like,
I don't know. I don't know. I'll answer the call if it rings. But I really, I was fine with how everything ended up turning out.
Yeah. I'm at peace now. I'm not angry writing, "Dear Survivor, this girl is a slut. Do not trust her." Regina George. Regina George quote. I think it's Skank, actually.
Okay.
Dirty Skank.
But there are other Canadian reality TV shows that. Do you think that you might pop up on one of those before you go play Survivor again?
You know what? I was always a Survivor or Bust person. Even before getting on Survivor, I was Survivor or Bust. I think to go on other Canadian shows, it's like, it would have to be like, oh, this is fun. And, Omar keeps on talking about how much fun he had on the Traitors Canada, and everyone should watch. And if you don't go and are a RHAP Patreon, you can watch, Rob has the connections.
Yeah, if you're not in Canada.
Yeah, but I'm just like, but for me, it's like, timing wasn't right. I was like, am I really going to do the Traitors? I was a very Survivor or Bust person, which is why I'm like, I got my Survivor, I got my Bust, Yeah.
What about the Amazing Race Canada?
I would do that at the time. It's just a lot of times it's just timing. It's just hard with med school and then with getting married.
Because you are a expert traveler. I know this from I know from the times that you have come in for the live show. You know all the airports.
Yes.
You know everything about upgrading with miles. You know the transit.
Absolutely. I think I even gave you a special lounge ticket once, like a special express ticket one time. Did I not? Maybe I'm mixing up with someone else.
Maybe I think it was somebody else.
Whoops. Yeah, I do like to travel.
Might have been Johnny Fairplay.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Love that man. Yeah, I'd like to travel, but like a lot of times it's like with the timing, because a lot of times Canadian shows film off like on the odd season, like Big Brother Canada filmed in February. I'm like, I can't do that with school. Amazing Race films in April. Oh, can't do that with school. So it's very like, oh, the timing doesn't work enough, and I'm not so connected to the show where I'm like, I have to go and watch. I have to go and make it work. Like Survivor was the only thing I'm like, I will make it work. I will move things to make this work.
Okay. How about take a question from, let's see. I want to make sure that we're sticking to Survivor questions and not talking about other shows. Okay. Chris Lambert says, what are your thoughts on production going to Tribes of Four when they took away the Final Four vote for Fire years ago? Doesn't it feel like a contradiction? Okay. So famously, Survivor said, we don't like a vote at the Final Four. Only in the pre-merge we like it.
Yeah. Very interesting how they swapped to 4. I didn't really hate it, because I feel as if the swap to 4 came at the perfect time right before merge, where people weren't so staunch about tribe lines,
I thought they were going to do 1 tribe wins immunity, 2 tribes go to tribal council and vote out 1 person. I thought they were going to do that.
I thought that was going to happen at first too.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not like, at first, like I was more like, okay, so look how it is. And like, as soon as that happened, I'm like, great. So the majority is just going to pick off the minority, as we've seen again. But then when we got to like they're back at camp, I'm like, okay, maybe things are more fluid. Maybe people are really peopling. So I really did think it was interesting. I think it was fun for a little Final Four vote. It would have been fun to see if it was a 2-2 if we finally got that fire making, but in the final 12 instead of the final 4.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of would we do a fire making at the Final Four here at 12? I think, or would we go to rock draw?
I think still rocks, but then rocks doesn't feel good, because that's what happened with Nalea and when you see it. Thank you. I'm being a bad fan, but that's what happened, right? In Final Four, where they did go to rocks. But I feel as if like fire just feels best if it's a deadlock vote at a 4.
All right, Maryanne, I want to ask you about something else from the episode that we saw last night, where Sophie B ended up getting knowledge is power. We had the Riz God came back.
Yes, R-I-Z-G-O-D, Riz God baby.
Riz God baby, the man, the myth, the legend. And he came back and said, he's like, you know what? I got a feeling. I think that maybe there's an advantage. What if there's an advantage? We should look for an advantage. And they go off and we find the coveted knowledge is power, which I know you saw firsthand in Survivor 42. First off, I thought this was unusual that we ended up having. Knowledge is power, very big deal in Survivor. And usually, I'm trying to remember in Survivor 42, when Drea got it, how did she acquire knowledge is power?
Okay, so Drea, I want to speak about that. Drea got knowledge is power, I believe, because she sat out in the final. At the final 11, we had a reward challenge, and it was at the sit out bench as a reward.
Yeah.
So
I guess in my mind that it's like, wow, okay, so the precedent on knowledge is power is that, like, I feel like you have to do something really incredible to get it, but it just seemed like that was just sitting there. You had to be in the right place at the right time to get it. So
remind me again, who won first in the reward?
So this is a really astute point. So the tribe that got the knowledge is power was also the tribe that got the reward.
Because speaking in 42, when we won the reward, Omar did get an idol nullifier, and it was a part of the reward as well too. So the reward we apparently threw it out. We found out in whatever Jeff's podcast, I'm forgetting the name right now, on Fire, that in the fish there was a reward, and Jonathan just threw it out in the gut, and it was said, go to the water well, and then that's where knowledge is power is. So I'm thinking maybe that because Hina won the reward, and these are players who've probably watched all the seasons, they're like, well, we got first place in the reward. Maybe because we got first place, there's going to be an advantage that is with said reward.
That's what I think makes the most sense. I find it hard to believe that there were advantages hidden at all three of the new tribes, and I can't imagine the other advantages would rival knowledge is power in terms of like what a powerful advantage it is. So that is the thing that makes the most sense. In terms of the other times that we had it show up, I believe that Liana got it in on a journey. Then, of course, you mentioned how Drea got it. James Jones, I think, got it like at the water well. There was like some sort of like a clue to something, and James Jones got it there. But in those other instances, I guess maybe not as much with Liana. It was like anybody could have gotten it. But if you go back to Survivor 48, the most recent season that we had it at least in the ether, not actually in the game, where Eva, I believe, when it was she won the final leg of the like very long, all the different stations of like the many stage immunity challenge. And then it was like the thing where everybody had their name cards and the scroll was like in the chips that were like right in front of her because she won the challenge. So I do think that there is like a little bit more precedent now for somebody or a group of people win a thing, and then they also, in addition to winning the reward, they also get access to the big advantage.
Yeah. And I think that's also, this isn't new to New Era. Like, I think, wasn't it, and please tell me if I'm mixing up my survivors, but wasn't it like in one of the 30s, there was like some sort of like spaghetti reward or something, or some food reward that they had to eat one at a time?
Yeah, so there was in Survivor Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers that there was a reward challenge, and it was 2 groups of 5 or 6 or whatever, and then they had to pick what order they were going to go eat the pasta, and then on the bottom of the dish there was the location of the idol, which was back at camp. And speaking of Survivor 50, that Chrissy ended up wrestling with Cole, I think, to try to get the idol.
Yeah.
And certainly, we have where in Heroes versus Villains, where that tribes win rewards, and whether it was in the toolbox or the coffee beans or sitting at the table with the right napkin. So there is a precedent. There is a precedent for that. I guess I'm trying to remember if they said that it was more of a thing. They just like did not imply at all that, that these two things were connected, I think is the question. And so I think we were left wondering, did all of the tribes have an advantage at their camp?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think this is just something where it was like, oh, we need 15 extra seconds. What can we cut?
Yeah.
And that was the thing that cut, because 3 knowledge's powers, that's just a logistical nightmare. Because it's like, what if you knowledge's power, then someone uses a knowledge's power with the idol, then you immediately use another knowledge's power. You know what I'm saying?
Or they like, Maryanne, do you have knowledge's power?
That's an advantage. And then you can then you stack the knowledge's powers. No, I think it was just a reward for getting first place. And then they just decided not to tell that story, that it was connected to the reward.
Brandon Donlin did some incredible research and went through all of the new era Survivor contestants and looked at who would you most like to play like.
Oh.
Okay. And found a surprising number of players who said that they would like to play like Maryanne.
Oh my gosh.
Would you like to hazard a guess of how many players in the new era said?
Ooh. Okay.
So specifically, Maryanne is who I'd like to play like.
So I think I started popping in at 45, because 40, maybe 44, but I think mostly 45. And I feel as if the type of game that I played, men typically go either they choose men or they choose very dominant women. And I wouldn't say I was a dominant winner. So that cuts it about in half. So 45, 46, 47, 48, 49. And it's just in the introductions, just in the introductions.
This is in their bios.
Okay. So 5 multiplied by 18 would be 90 people divided by 2. So 45 possible players. I know that people who are typically weird connect with me, so that gives me at least so I'd say like for sure Star said me. So I'm gonna go with maybe 45. What's the math? If I do 7, that would be. I'm gonna go with 7.
It's higher.
Oh, okay. 9.
Higher.
11.
Higher.
14.
Lower. 13 people. 13 people specifically, and Soda answered the question season 42. So we'll give you 13 and a half.
Okay, 13.5. Okay. Of a possible 90. Okay. I'll take
pretty
that.
Good. That's pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to hear all the people that said they would want to play like Maryanne? And you tell me if they.
Let me guess. Give me the season and how many people are there.
How about let's just go through the list, because
okay, time, yes,
for
that's
time
fair.
constraints.
That'd be forever.
Okay. I'll give you the name. You tell me did they get the Maryanne seal of approval? Did you see any of yourself in their game? Okay. All right. Carolyn said she would play like a Maryanne.
44, Carolyn?
Yes.
And the authenticity seal of approval?
Yes. Did the season 43 players see your season? Had they had your season aired at the time?
I think Chanel got voted out by the time that they went to fly out.
So they could have said you, but they didn't see your winning game.
Yeah, but it's yeah.
Okay. All right. So you said yes to you see yourself in Carolyn.
Authenticity, okay. Yeah. I would give so 1 out of 2.
Okay. All right. 1 out of 2 what?
So the way that I go with it is that 0 is they didn't play with me at all. A 1 is either I think they played strategically like me or were very authentic like me.
Yes.
And then a 2 is that they were strategic and authentic.
Okay, great. Okay. Franny.
Ooh. Oh my gosh. I'll give it 2. I'll give it 2. Yeah.
Okay. In addition to Franny, also Matt Blankenship. Was that what they bonded over?
That would be crazy. I would go with just a 1 for strategy.
Okay, just a 1 for Matt Blankenship. Yeah. Okay, J Maya.
1 strategy.
1 strategy. Okay, Jessica Chong.
Just Chong? Oh, she didn't really get to play that long. It's so sad. I would go with a 0, unfortunately.
0. Oh, okay.
0,
all right.
I know.
All right, now Soda, that's the half one.
Soda's got to go to. I'm gonna go with a 1 for authenticity.
You said Soda has got to go to. What about Tevin?
Tevin? Oh my goodness. I feel like a 1 for strategy.
Okay. All right. I believe this is Kenzie.
Kenzie? Yeah, I think
It says
Kenzie
on my
said
it says on this document Kenley,
no, I think it's
Kenle.
I think Kenzie said so. And she said she was like a mixture between me and I think poverty, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was very, very apt. And I do
That's
agree with that.
That's
Yes.
interesting.
So I
see
do
that.
agree with that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Bianca Roses.
Bianca. Oh, love that woman. I think Bianca in the strategy. Yeah. 1 out of 2.
Okay. What about Say?
Say? I don't see it. Sorry, Say. Love you, girl. But I don't see it at all.
Okay. Star.
Star in the authenticity, absolutely.
Yeah, I will say that I do feel like that Say is, and I think that maybe you didn't necessarily see it all the time on the show, but I feel like in social media that I do feel like that Say can be a very like bubbly, fun personality. And I do think that I could see that a little bit.
Okay. You see, I've never connected in person. And I think social media is fake. I love it, but it's fake. So I'm like, I can't make a full ruling. I can only make on what's there on TV. Remember, this is subjective.
If you watch the RHAP Mafia we did with Say, I think you could see it a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What about Star, who is my guest?
We did Star already.
Oh, sorry. So Star, you said yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Camilla.
Camilla, I see it. I really do see it. I see it. I think I'm gonna go with girl just needed to know how to make fire. I'm gonna go with a 2 for 2.
2 for 2. Okay. Shannon Fairweather.
Shannon Fairweather. Love my girl Shannon. Oh my goodness. I think the problem with Shannon, I think she was authentic, but the problem with her strategy is that like she came from a natural point of dominance in the game. And I just don't think, I think by virtue of Maryanne, it's like you kind of weasel your way into that win. And she had a very good layout in the beginning. So 1 out of 2.
Okay. And then also Sage.
Sage? Oh my gosh. Sage and I both are obsessed with blackheads. So I'm going to have to give that.
Do you have a jar?
No, not like that. But I do love Dr. Pimple Popper. And I think at least with the way that Sage is playing, especially the way that she pulled Jawan to go and get Shannon out, at least from what I've seen so far, 2 for 2 for authenticity and also her gameplay.
Okay. All right. There you go. And we'll see in the future if you continue to rack up the number of people who say they were going to play like you.
I'm old and irrelevant at my ripe age at 27, Rob. Come on.
You said, Brandon also pulled that, who you would most like to play the game like. Do you remember?
Yes, I do. I think I said I wanted to play the game. I said 2 different answers. Is this the one where I said winner and non-winner, or is this the one where I only described one person? Okay, so then I specifically said I would like to play the game like Davey. Davey went with authenticity, but then he also wanted to play Survivor, which like in a fun way. Davey had a path to 6, and I'm going to perfect it to number 1. Something around those lines.
You did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was also talking about your journey with Steven on the Know-It-Alls in terms of that I felt like that your Survivor journey really followed the 3-act structure so well. As Jawan talked about how we were headed into Act 2. Because you were really probably in your most dangerous spot in the game was, correct me if I'm wrong, was right at the Mergatory, right? Where that you could have gone home in that vote.
If it was not for Omer, I was going home. That's like point blank period. If it was not for Omer, I would have been blindsided and I would have gone home. I truly do think that would have happened based on the conversations that I had. So thank you, Omer.
Thank you, Omer. Okay. Anything else on your mind about Survivor 49?
Oh my goodness. Survivor 49, I think it's been every survivor's a good survivor. I think with 49, we're now at the part where it's like, oh, we're about to hit merge.
Yeah.
And like we've been discussing, we have this perfect setup of 11 tight margins and people who want to win and people who are thinking about 60, 50. Maybe they're thinking a lot, maybe they're thinking about a little, but they are thinking about 50. So I am so curious to see how all of these beautiful bubbles are going to go and mix up to turn into a beautiful merge.
Right. Okay. It's like we've taken the chicken and now we have it in the pot, and it's like, hey, just let it. We're letting it simmer. We're letting it simmer.
Yeah.
All they could do is now screw it up by putting more stuff in it. Like you've got it. You got it. It's right
Stir
where
occasionally. Okay. And we just stirred.
No, but we really could be set up for a good back half.
Yeah, I think so. And I also think that it's like Survivor changes day to day. You know, there's so many seasons where you're like, oh my gosh, this pre-merge is so powerful that we're going to have this powerful of a merge, and we don't. And then we have other seasons where it's like, oh my God, this is a slow moving car. And then someone straps a rocket to that car at the merge. Wow. So I really do think that it can go from 0 to 100, 20 to 100, you know? So like I said, I'm very excited to see it. Any Survivor is good Survivor, and I'm really enjoying the season.
Okay. Maryanne, what else do you want people to check out that you're doing?
Oh my gosh. Like I said, I'm on Chat BCC. That's where I usually just do my, for lack of a better term, live tweets to the show, chat about people. Also on Instagram.
Because you can talk about the show there, and it's not like that you're going to get like retweeted and ratioed.
I know. No. And then, because I don't have Twitter updated on my phone, so it's still actually Twitter. So the support is really janky, so I can't really use it properly. So Chat BCC works so much better for me. And yeah, Instagram as well too. I try to do a monthly post. I did not do September, so hopefully I will do a back-to-back one tomorrow. And if you see me on the street, please say hello. There have been times when people have seen me, then they message me like, was that you? I should have, like, I didn't want to bother you. Unless I am trying to go and like, I'm getting I'm clearly very busy fighting for my life. Always come say hello.
Here, let me share one of your recent Instagram posts. Here you are with the coveted Labubu. You saw a big fat Labubu in New York City. They have rat boo-boo in New York City now.
No, this one was actually in Toronto, and it was like a $700 Labubu.
Yes, not the coveted golden Labubu.
No, not the 20 karat gold. And I sent it to my niece, who's obsessed with Labubus, and she's like, "Did you buy it?" And I'm like, "No, it was expensive," but she doesn't know the concept of money because she's young. So she's like, "You should have just gotten it." And I'm like, "No, it was $700.
Yes. Do you collect any Labubu?
I don't. I think they're ugly, actually.
Yeah. Labubu would be such a great merge tribe name. That do you think that like you could get away with it? Like, would Jeff know if you named the merge tribe Labubu?
I think
you think there's some producer that'd be like, kill it,
Google and to kill it. Yeah. No, I remember because I wanted to name the merge tribe Screwdan. Screwdan, yeah, because you're not allowed to cuddle anymore. So I wanted to. That was shot down so fast.
You're lucky they didn't just like pull the hook and rip you off the show.
Yeah, they're like, damn, she was almost gone. Mergatory didn't have to have that name because even pre-merge, I'm like, we should call our merge tribe name Screwdan, but didn't happen.
Can we name the merge tribe F Spilo?
F Spilo, yeah.
That's Fijian for crocodile.
Yeah, that was the joke one. But then, but it's actually interesting. Speaking about merge, you might be like, how do people make a merge tribe name?
Yeah.
Social equity comes into matter because when I was at merge, I was at the bottom. So I couldn't then ask for the merge tribe name because I'd be doing too much on the bottom, you know? So if you find out who makes the merge tribe name, that actually shows you they're in a very good position strategically.
Yes. Okay. That is a very good point. We'll see who names the merge tribe, and we'll see. We'll know that they carry a lot of weight.
Absolutely. Vote the person out who names the merge tribe.
All right. Maryanne, thank you so much for making time. You are always such a delight to talk to. I'm always so happy when we get you to come here on RHAP and talk about what's going on in Survivor. And I thought that you had such great perspective on everything going on in the season.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for listening to me and not like just flying to Canada and pulling the mic, you know? It really means a lot that you appreciate my opinion.
I would never do that. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got Danielle DiLorenzo on the Old School interview. I'm going to be doing the patron Q&A. Check out my interview with Shannon if you've missed that. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.